Anyone who knows anything about video games can name at least one Silent Protagonist. Video games have a unique advantage where it can get away with a main character with virtually no lines, instead focusing on their own interaction with the world, whether it is combat, puzzles, or platforming. But people mistake a silent character with a clean slate, and through this small series I want to explore various examples and what we can take from their actions and how they relate to their respective worlds. While some speculation about the epilogue will be included, the focus will be on what the game shows us and the conclusion we arrive with it. This is less about guessing the future and more about looking at what we already have, and through that exercise, figure out who exactly our hero is. So without further ado, in Amidst, developed by Indefatigable, thanks Google, and published by New Blood Interactive, you play as a hero simply known as the Champion. Over the course of the game, the character finds and uses 6 other magical weapons in an adventure spanning 7 worlds with a boss fight at the end of each of them. In the end, they ascend to the heavens where they are given a choice between staying or continuing with their adventures. It's a very simple plot. Most of everything else we can extrapolate is through the gameplay alone. Most of the overt text tells you more about the world than the champion. The 6 worlds they are meant to save are overwhelmed by a nebulous corruption, and the writing on the walls are the only evidence of any non-hostile. For the protagonist, let's start with the character's basics. They are an athletic combatant with working knowledge of the various weapons you find, maintaining a running speed that would put most sprinters to shame. They can gather mana to fuel their weapons and the souls of their enemies for a temporary super mode. Artwork depicts them of a muscular physique, coming across more as a barbarian than a wizard, despite their use of magic, and is a stark contrast with the many suits of armor and robes they fight throughout the game. And there are small things we can draw. They can read inscriptions on the wall from the language of the world, and their acquisition of weapons reads as more than a little enthusiastic. Between their laughter and the barbaric called their soul mode, they are not a stoic, unlike the Doomslayer. At the end, they are revealed to have 4 eyes, despite many of the statues and helmets only having 2. So whether or not they are from this world to begin with is unclear. The contrast between their outfit and the armor and robes of their enemies implies, at the very least, a different culture. Also, the champion is referred to as they in the source material, implying either an unknown or non-binary gender. But here's where we read between the lines. The description of the game mentions they were once branded a heretic. This is, of course, a reference to the game Heretic, one of Amidst's inspirations. But it would not have been said if there was no meaning behind it. Throughout the game, you find inscriptions on the walls, giving further details on the world you are exploring. And many of them come across as fanatical. From the animosity between the astral equinox and solar solstice, to the demand of perfection of the domain of the Sentinels, to even the technological prowess of the Forges, much of the world runs on unyielding belief. Unhewn stone is meaningless, say the Sentinels, who are now overrun by formless alien beasts. The background story, even before you touch the main character, is one of hubris and downfall. Thousands of years had passed until our champion is chosen. They are branded a heretic, and it would be easy to surmise that it is only because they are not fanatical themselves. But is our main character a bastion of good, even if they aren't outright evil? You are given the impression that this is far from their first fight, able to wield the starting weapon, the Axe of the Black Labyrinth, with ease. And whenever they pick up another weapon, well, there's both recognition and excitement in that laugh. And if they had not used these exact weapons before, they have likely used mana in the past. And now we should address their ability to absorb and use souls. In the game and in the text, you are never really given a reason why they're able to do so. Mana use seems to be common knowledge in this realm, but the only other example of soul power is the boss of the Arcane Expanse, the Twin Terrors. who are said to be summoned in exchange for a soul. Then there's the case of the final boss. Just before facing it, the champion gets this ominous message. And before we even enter Evil's domain, the Twin Terrors return. And they look much more at home in this chaotic realm. Both the Arcane Expanse and our hero use soul magic. And that leaves only one explanation of where the champion receives such power. Taking into account their loud personality, possible past associations, knowledge of weapons, and ability to use magic via mana and souls, perhaps the fanatics had something to fear from our hero. Or being branded a heretic forced him to consort with dark forces in the first place. But do I think they're evil? Ultimately, no. After defeating the final boss, the champion is rescued and brought to the Haven, meeting the gods of the Six Realms. They lower their axe, and it cuts to the endgame artwork. And there they sit, their four eyes in a contemplative gaze into their own helmet. But the champion is not their usual enthusiastic self. They are not on a throne claiming power, nor do they bother confronting the gods who let their subjects cast them away. Instead, they sit, the stars before them, quiet and calm. In the epilogue, they are offered to stay in their haven or leave to continue their journeys elsewhere. You do not see the champion's decision, so for now, you are supposed to fill in the blank yourself. So what sort of arc does our hero go through on a personal level? Journeys change people. The champion had traveled through 7 worlds, fighting everything from fanatics to otherworldly horrors, using all their knowledge of magic and every inch of their muscle. They had navigated through great towers, forges, floating cities, and twisted, nebulous labyrinths. And the gods, whose disciples branded them a heretic, did not abandon them in the end. And here is where we are left to speculate. Perhaps they have their own plans, maybe against the gods, or perhaps it is simply the fanatics who were their true enemy, and that evil was an inevitable foe. Only a sequel will tell us. Now, what are they on a conceptual level? My interpretation is that they are a middle ground between religious zeal and mad scientist. Wizards have classically been scientists against whatever religion the IP is portraying. And while I have mentioned fanaticism several times, a better word would be hubris. Not only has religion gone awry, but the Arcane Expanse is a place where magic had been pushed too far, and the Void is a place where magic and chaos are in its very fabric. Not to mention the Forge, where the machines rule, but their creators are nowhere in sight. The champion, however, has the zeal to press on during hardship, and the magical understanding to use what is necessary. They have tasted and enjoyed power of all forms, from physical feats to magic both conventional and forbidden. But they were chosen because, despite all this, they have control of their mind and body, unlike the many enemies in their path. Yes, the source of evil knows who they are, but the champion knows right back, and above all, where to strike. Thank you all for watching this little thought experiment of mine. If you enjoyed, feel free to browse our channel. We have Let's Plays, and we also have podcasts if you need to listen to two brothers jabbering while doing the dishes or something. Otherwise, viewers, have a great day.